Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into all things TLR therapeutics.
TLR therapeutics.
TLR therapeutics. That's toll-like receptors. For those of you who haven't spent quite as much time geeking out about immunology as I have,
And me too.
based on the research you sent over, it seems like you're really interested in learning about how these TLRs can be manipulated to treat a whole bunch of different diseases.
Yeah, definitely.
And honestly, so am I. The potential here is just enormous.
It is.
We're talking everything from cancer
To
autoimmune disorders and even neurodegenerative diseases.
yeah, the whole gamut.
So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's just make sure we're all starting on the same page here.
Okay, sounds good.
Think of TLRs as like your immune system's alarm bells.
Alarm bells.
Yeah, they're these proteins that detect specific patterns in pathogens.
Okay.
They're basically shouting, hey, there's an intruder here.
Right.
And they kick off that immune response to neutralize the threat.
Makes sense.
But sometimes those alarm bells get stuck on,
Oh.
and that leads to chronic inflammation and sometimes even those autoimmune diseases.
I see.
That's where these TLR-based therapies come in.
Okay.
They aim to fine-tune the immune response by either blocking those overactive TLRs
Uh-huh.
or by boosting the ones that are a little bit sluggish.
Interesting.
It's kind of like having a volume knob for your body's defenses.
That's a great analogy.
So what's particularly fascinating is that researchers are developing both TLR antagonists,
Antagonists.
which basically mute those alarm bells,
Okay.
and TLR agonists, which actually amplify the signal.
Oh, wow.
So it's a real two-pronged approach,
Yeah.
which opens up this whole new world of treatment options.
Exciting.
Okay, so let's talk specifics.
All right.
The research you provided highlights some really promising TLR drug candidates.
Oh, cool.
One that really caught my eye is IMO 8400.
IMO 8400.
It's designed to target TLR 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
Which are very often implicated in autoimmune diseases like lupus.
Right.
What's the strategy there?
Well, IMO 8400 is an antagonist. So it works by blocking those specific TLRs
Okay.
to try and reduce that overactive immune response.
Yeah,
That's really characteristic of lupus.
makes sense.
And because it targets TLRs inside the cell.
Inside the cell.
Yeah, it's thought to have fewer side effects than drugs that only target TLRs on the cell surface.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like a more targeted approach to climbing down the immune system.
Exactly.
But what about boosting the immune system?
Boosting.
You also sent me some info on a drug called R848.
Oh, yeah. R848.
What's that all about?
R848 is a TLR7 agonist.
Agonist.
So it actually activates TLR7 signaling.
Oh, no.
It's a completely different strategy.
Okay.
It's being investigated as a potential cancer treatment because it can really ramp up that immune response against those pesky tumor cells.
So instead of silencing the alarm, R848 is like setting off a siren to attract an army of immune cells to come and fight the cancer.
That is a fantastic way to put it. Yeah, it essentially primes the immune system to recognize and destroy cancer cells much more effectively.
Wow.
And because it can be applied directly to the tumor site, it minimizes the risk of those widespread side effects.
That's incredible. It sounds like we're really moving away from these one-size-fits-all treatments and moving more towards a more targeted therapies that can either amplify or suppress these very specific parts of the immune response.
Absolutely.
But as with any new therapy, there are going to be some challenges.
Yeah, of course.
What are some of those potential pitfalls that researchers are grappling with?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is off-target effects.
Off-target effects.
Because TLRs are found all over the body,
Yeah.
there's always a risk that a drug targeting a specific TLR could have these unintended consequences on other cells or tissues.
Okay.
It's like trying to swat a fly with a hammer you might miss and break something else in the process.
Ouch. Yeah, not a good situation.
So precision is key.
But even if we can target those TLRs with pinpoint accuracy, there's still the issue of individual variability.
Right.
You mentioned earlier that everyone's immune system is slightly different.
It is.
How does that impact the development of these therapies?
Well, it's a major hurdle.
Yeah.
A drug that works wonders for one person might be completely ineffective or even harmful for another.
I see.
Yeah, this variability is influenced by a whole host of factors.
Such as?
Genetics, environmental exposures, and even the composition of our gut microbiome.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot to take in.
So it's like trying to design a treatment plan for a moving target.
Yeah,
Each person's immune system is constantly changing and responding to its environment.
right.
How do researchers account for that?
That's where personalized immunity comes into play.
personalized community.
The idea is to tailor treatments to each individual's unique characteristics.
Wow.
Using genetic testing, gut microbiome analysis, and other clinical data to create a truly customized approach.
So it's like moving from a ready-made suit to a bespoke tailoring service for our immune systems.
That's a great way to put it.
That sounds incredibly futuristic.
Yeah.
Is this something that's actually on the horizon, or is this still science fiction?
I'd say personalized immunity is no longer just a pipe dream.
Really?
It's rapidly becoming a reality.
Wow.
Thanks to those advances in genetic testing, data analysis, and our ever-growing understanding of the factors that influence immune response.
That's really exciting. But before we get too lost in those possibilities of personalized immunity,
Sure.
I want to make sure we cover another key aspect of TLR research that you highlighted.
Okay.
The concept of combination therapies.
Combination therapies.
Tell me more.
Combination therapies hold immense potential
Okay.
for maximizing the effectiveness of those TLR-based treatments.
Okay.
Instead of relying on a single TLR target,
Okay.
researchers are exploring ways to combine multiple TLR modulators
Uh-huh.
or to integrate TLR modulation with other therapeutic approaches.
So it's like creating a more sophisticated strategy,
Yeah.
targeting the immune system from multiple angles
Yeah.
to achieve a more robust and balanced response.
Exactly.
I love that analogy.
It's a good one.
It really captures the complexity and elegance of the immune system.
It does.
But I imagine developing these combination therapies presents its own set of challenges.
Absolutely.
What?
Well, it's not simply a matter of throwing different drugs together and hoping for the best.
Right.
We need to carefully consider the interplay between different TLR pathways,
Uh-huh.
the potential for synergistic or antagonistic effects,
Right.
and those unique characteristics of each individual's immune system.
Right. So it's back to the bespoke tailoring service.
It is.
It seems like personalized immunity is going to be crucial for optimizing the effectiveness and safety of these combination therapies.
It really is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
We've talked about TLRs as the immune system's alarm bells,
Yeah.
the potential of TLR antagonists and agonists, the challenges of off-target effects and individual variability, the promise of personalized immunity,
Yes.
and the emerging field of combination therapies.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's clear that TLR research is this really dynamic and rapidly evolving field with just enormous potential for transforming how we treat a wide range of diseases.
Absolutely.
But before we delve even deeper into this fascinating world,
Okay.
I think it's time for a quick break.
Break.
We'll be right back with more insights into the future of TLR-based therapies.
Can't wait.
Me either.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do it. Welcome back. I am so excited to continue our exploration of TLRs and their therapeutic potential.
Me too. Before the break, we were talking about combination therapies and how they could revolutionize treatment strategies.
Yeah.
But TLR research is such a dynamic field. What other trends are you seeing emerge that might shape the future of this field?
One of the most fascinating trends is the growing interest in exploring the role of TLRs in diseases beyond what we traditionally think of as immune conditions.
Oh.
Researchers are now investigating the potential involvement of TLRs in cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative disorders, and even aging.
Wow, that's a huge shift in perspective.
Mm.
It's like realizing that TLRs are not just immune system players, but are involved in a much broader range of physiological processes throughout the body.
Exactly. And this expanded view opens up entirely new avenues for therapeutic intervention.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine a world where we could target TLRs not only to boost immunity, but also to protect our hearts, our brains, and even slow down the aging process.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
But before we get too carried away with these futuristic possibilities, let's zoom in on some of the specific challenges that come with developing TLR-based therapies.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier the risk of off-target effects.
Right.
Could you elaborate on that a bit more?
Sure. Off-target effects are a major concern because TLRs are so widely distributed throughout the body.
Okay.
A drug that's designed to target a specific TLR on one type of cell might inadvertently bind to the same TLR on a different type of cell, leading to unintended consequences.
I see.
It's like trying to weed your garden but accidentally spraying herbicide on your prize-winning roses.
Ouch. That's a painful analogy.
Hmm.
So how do researchers try to minimize these off-target effects?
One approach is to design drugs that are highly selective for specific TLR subtypes.
So,
Another strategy is to develop delivery systems that can target the drug to the specific tissues or cells where it's needed,
uh-huh.
reducing the risk of it interacting with TLRs in other parts of the body.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But even if we can overcome the challenge of off-target effects,
Okay.
there's still the issue of individual variability in response to treatment.
Right.
You mentioned earlier that everyone's immune system is slightly different.
Uh-huh.
Could you explain why that's so important in the context of TLR therapies?
Sure, it's crucial because it means that a drug that works wonders for one person might be completely ineffective or even harmful for another. This variability stems from a complex interplay of genetic factors, environmental exposures, the composition of the gut microbiome, and even lifestyle choices.
Wow, that's a lot of variables to consider. It seems like developing TLR-based therapies is like navigating a complex maze with lots of twists and turns.
It can be.
How are researchers trying to make sense of all this complexity and tailor treatments to individuals?
That's where personalized medicine comes into play.
Personalized medicine.
It's the idea of using information about an individual's unique characteristics to guide treatment decisions.
Okay.
In the context of TLR therapies, this could involve analyzing a person's DNA to identify genetic variations that might influence their response to certain drugs.
So it's like creating a personalized roadmap for navigating the immune system,
That's a good way to think about it.
taking into account each person's unique genetic makeup.
Exactly. And it's not just about genetics.
Oh.
Researchers are also exploring ways to analyze the composition of a person's gut microbiome,
Right, the gut microbiome.
which can play a significant role in modulating immune responses.
The gut microbiome is such a hot topic these days. It seems like it's involved in practically every aspect of our health.
It really is.
How does it specifically influence TLR signaling?
Well, the trillions of bacteria that reside in our gut produce a wide range of metabolites,
Oh.
some of which can directly interact with TLRs on immune cells.
Wow.
This crosstalk between the gut microbiome and the immune system can have a profound impact on how our bodies respond to TLR-based therapies.
So it's not just about targeting TLRs directly.
Right.
It's also about understanding the complex ecosystem of the gut microbiome and how it might influence treatment outcomes.
Absolutely. And as we learn more about the gut microbiome and its role in immune regulation, we'll be able to develop even more personalized and effective TLR-based therapies.
This is all incredibly exciting, but I imagine it also raises some ethical considerations.
You're right to point that out. As with any new medical technology, personalized medicine has the potential for both tremendous good and potential misuse. We need to ensure that access to these therapies is equitable and that they are used responsibly and ethically.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to consider not just the scientific advancements, but also the societal implications of these new technologies.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm curious to hear more about what personalized TLR therapies might actually look like in practice.
Okay.
Can you paint a picture for our listeners?
Sure. Imagine a future where you visit your doctor and they take a small sample of your blood or saliva.
Okay.
This sample is then analyzed to determine your unique genetic profile, the composition of your gut microbiome,
Right.
and other relevant biomarkers.
Okay.
Based on this information, your doctor can then prescribe a TLR-based therapy that is specifically tailored to your individual needs and likely to be the most effective and safest option for you.
That sounds amazing. It's like having a custom-designed treatment plan that's optimized for your unique biology.
Exactly. And as our understanding of TLR signaling pathways continues to deepen, we'll be able to develop even more personalized and sophisticated therapies that can target the immune system with incredible precision.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges of off-target effects and individual variability, the promise of personalized medicine,
Yes.
and the importance of considering the gut microbiome.
Right.
But there's another aspect of TLR research that I'm really intrigued by, the potential connection between TLR signaling and our lifestyle choices.
Lifestyles,
So, you hinted at this earlier.
I did.
Could you elaborate on how factors like diet, exercise, and stress might influence TLR function?
Absolutely. There's a growing body of research suggesting that our lifestyle choices can directly impact TLR expression and signaling,
Right.
and therefore our overall immune health.
Yeah.
It's not just about the genes we inherit, it's also about the choices we make every day that shape our immune system.
That's empowering. It means we have more control over our immune health than we might realize.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to hear specifics. How does diet, for example, influence TLR signaling?
Well, the food we eat provides nourishment not only to our bodies, but also to the trillions of bacteria that reside in our gut.
Right, those gut bacteria.
And as we discussed earlier, the gut microbiome plays a crucial role in modulating immune responses.
Right, those gut bacteria are like tiny chefs,
They are.
creating a whole menu of metabolites that can interact with our immune cells.
Exactly. A diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and fiber
Yeah.
can promote a healthy balance of gut bacteria, which in turn can positively influence TLR signaling.
Makes sense.
On the other hand, a diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats can disrupt the gut microbiome
Right.
and lead to chronic inflammation,
Yeah.
which can dysregulate TLR signaling and increase the risk of developing certain diseases.
So it's like the old adage, you are what you eat, takes on a whole new meaning in the context of TLRs and immune health.
It really does. And it's not just about diet. Exercise has also been shown to have a positive impact on TLR function.
Oh, interesting.
Regular physical activity can help to reduce chronic inflammation, improve immune cell function, and even enhance the body's response to vaccines.
So hitting the gym or going for a run isn't just good for our physical fitness. It's also a workout for our immune system.
Exactly. And let's not forget about sleep.
Sleep.
Chronic sleep deprivation can wreak havoc on our immune system,
I see.
disrupting TLR signaling and making us more susceptible to infections and other diseases.
It sounds like getting enough sleep is just as important as eating right and exercising when it comes to maintaining a healthy immune system.
It really is.
But what about stress?
Stress.
Everyone knows that stress can negatively impact our health, but how does it specifically affect TLR function?
Chronic stress can trigger the release of hormones like cortisol,
Right, cortisol.
which can suppress immune function and interfere with TLR signal. Finding healthy ways to manage stress, such as mindfulness, meditation, yoga, or spending time in nature, can help to mitigate these negative effects and promote immune resilience.
So taking care of our mental and emotional well-being is just as important as taking care of our physical health when it comes to optimizing TLR function.
Precisely. It all boils down to taking a holistic approach to health and recognizing the interconnectedness of our physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
Okay, so we've covered diet, exercise, sleep, and stress management. Are there any other lifestyle factors that can influence TLR signaling?
Well, there's growing interest in the role of environmental exposures,
Environmental exposure.
such as pollution and toxins,
Okay,
in modulating TLR function.
I see.
Some studies suggest that exposure to certain environmental pollutants can disrupt TLR signaling
Okay.
and increase the risk of developing inflammatory diseases.
That's concerning. It seems like there are so many factors in our modern environment that can potentially throw our immune systems out of whack.
It's true there are a lot of things to be aware of.
Right.
But the good news is that we're learning more and more about these environmental influences and how to mitigate their negative effects. This knowledge empowers us to make informed choices about our lifestyle and environment to support our immune health.
That's a hopeful message. It seems like TLR research is not just about developing new drugs, but also about empowering individuals to take control of their own health and well-being.
I completely agree. TLR research is giving us a deeper understanding of the intricate connections between our genes, our environment, and our lifestyle choices.
Wow.
This knowledge can guide us towards a more holistic and personalized approach to healthcare,
Right.
one that recognizes the interconnectedness of all systems within the body.
This has been an incredibly enlightening conversation. We've explored the fascinating world of TLRs from so many angles,
Yeah,
from the intricacies of their signaling pathways to the profound influence of our lifestyle choices and the emerging field of personalized medicine.
it's been quite a journey.
What a journey.
Indeed. Welcome back. It's really amazing to think that these tiny proteins we've been talking about, these TLRs, might be involved in not just our immune response, but in how our brains learn and remember.
It really is amazing. It really highlights how interconnected our bodies are.
Yeah.
It's like realizing that the immune system and the brain are constantly in communication, influencing each other in ways we're only just beginning to understand.
Absolutely. And this crosstalk has really significant implications for our overall health. You know, it's not just about fighting off infections anymore,
Right.
but about understanding how these systems work together to keep our bodies balanced and resilient.
You mentioned earlier that some research is being done on TLRs and cognitive function.
Yeah.
What have scientists found so far?
Well, they're looking at all sorts of cognitive processes, including things like learning and memory and even mood regulation.
Mood too.
Yeah. One of the big focuses has been on TLR4, which is activated by molecules that are released during inflammation.
So if there's inflammation in the brain, could that actually impact cognitive function through that TLR4 signaling?
That's exactly what researchers are trying to figure out.
Wow.
And, chronic inflammation is a hallmark of a lot of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's.
Right.
So there's a lot of interest in understanding if TLR4 activation is contributing to that cognitive decline in these conditions.
It really makes you think that inflammation isn't just a local issue.
Right.
It can have these effects throughout the whole body, including the brain.
The brain, too.
What other cognitive disorders are being studied in relation to these TLRs?
Well, researchers are also looking into the role of TLRs in autism spectrum disorder and schizophrenia.
Really?
Some studies have actually found changes in TLR expression and signaling
Huh.
in people with these conditions, which suggests that TLRs might be part of what's going on in the brain.
It seems like TLR research is expanding beyond just infections and immunity into this whole new area of brain health and how our brains work. Are there any TLR-based treatments being investigated specifically for these cognitive disorders yet?
It's still early days, but there are some promising leads.
Okay.
Researchers are looking at using TLR agonists to stimulate those pathways in the brain that protect neurons.
Okay.
And they're also interested in developing TLR antagonists to try to reduce inflammation in the brain, which could potentially slow down the progression of some of those neurodegenerative diseases.
So those same principles that we discussed earlier
Yeah.
about modulating those TLRs in the immune system,
Right.
either activating them to boost the good responses or blocking them to suppress the harmful ones, could apply to brain health too.
Exactly. It just goes to show how adaptable and versatile these TLR proteins are.
It's incredible. We have covered so much today.
We have.
From the basics of TLR signaling to their potential role in personalized medicine, the influence of our lifestyle choices, and now this connection to brain health and cognitive function.
It's been a really fascinating journey.
What a journey, for sure. I hope our listener feels the same way.
I hope so too. It's been a real pleasure exploring these complex concepts with you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share these insights with our listeners.
Before we go, I want to leave our listener with one final thought to ponder.
Okay, I'm listening.
So we've talked about TLRs as these detectors of danger signals from outside invaders and even from damaged cells in our own bodies.
Right.
We've explored the potential of personalized therapies, the impact of our lifestyle, and even these emerging roles in all sorts of processes.
Yeah.
But what if TLRs could also be used to actually promote healing and regeneration?
Wow, that's a really profound question. You're essentially asking if we can switch the focus of TLRs from defense to repair.
Precisely. We know that TLRs are involved in the inflammatory response,
Yeah.
which is a key part of healing. But could we manipulate TLR signaling to actually boost the ability of tissues to regenerate?
It's a really interesting idea and one that researchers are beginning to investigate.
Okay.
There have actually been some studies showing that TLR activation can help wounds heal faster and can improve tissue repair in animals.
So TLRs could be more than just fighters.
Yeah.
They could actually be key players in rebuilding and restoring what's been damaged.
Exactly. Just imagine the possibilities.
Yeah.
Regenerating damaged heart tissue after a heart attack, repairing spinal cord injuries, maybe even reversing the effects of aging.
That's incredible. The more we learn about TLR signaling and its potential role in tissue regeneration, the more I think it could actually happen. It's really a testament to the amazing ability of the human body to heal and adapt.
I totally agree. TLR research is a really exciting frontier of scientific discovery, and the possibilities seem endless.
Well, on that note of wonder and possibility, it's time to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
It has been a truly deep dive, and I'm so glad I could be a part of it.
Me too. And to our listeners, as always, stay curious. Until next time, happy learning.
Happy learning.